Let's talk money, let's talk economy. Kenyan economy doesn't have even a single dollar billionaire, and that reflects how badly our economy is or how difficult it is to create meaningful wealth in Kenya. I want you to listen to John Mbadi so that you understand a little bit of our economy.
Some of us steal money here, we go to Tanzania, we invest it there. Because when we invest it in Kenya, it will be more visible. You also bring money from Tanzania, some of it by road, na magari. Mnapitia, mnakuja hapa Kenya, you start constructing buildings around here. That is what we do. So if we are stealing 2 billion per day, assuming we reduce the theft, we don't want to stop it, we just say, okay, if you have been stealing 1,000, please steal only 500 shillings. If you have been stealing 100,000, steal 50,000. If there could be that, I don't know whether to call it conscious decision, but if there could be such a decision, ridiculous as it sounds, we would be saving 1 billion shilling per day, which would accumulate to 365 billion shillings. That is more than the external borrowing.
I think this one now is a paragon of a rigged economy. What I mean by paragon here is actually like a perfect example of an economy that is rigged, where those who become wealthy do not create, do not produce, do not innovate. Instead, they just loot public resources to enrich themselves. This is an economic crime, and by the way, this is something so huge that should be taken so seriously. I know many of us don't really care. Many of us think this is just a joke, but let me just tell you this. Perhaps you are unemployed because of this. Perhaps you don't have money in your pocket because of this. Because when an economy is rigged, you cannot out-hustle it. You cannot say that you can easily make it when the economy is in this state where we have people looting and investing that money. An economy like that cannot create meaningful or gainful employment because you have to produce something, export, or allow people to buy within your country so that many can get, employment. Wealth creation is actually a chain. So when Mbadi says this and people just laugh and think it's just something normal, it's not normal. This reflects how badly our economy is doing, and it tells you that as much as you work hard, it may be difficult for you to create legitimate wealth in this country. That's the point Mbadi is making, and I don't know if Kenyans understand the weight of this. Because this should even make us mad, not actually literally, becoming mentally unstable, but it should, make us agitated. And it should even inform the choices we shall make in 2027 because our economy is being rigged for many of us who are hardworking. Additionally, not all of us can get an opportunity to steal public resources. I know some would say, okay, let them steal. When I also get an opportunity, I will steal. You may never get an opportunity because even getting that opportunity is difficult because it's just like a circle. So understand this. What you have to do is possibly making the right choice on the ballot and demanding that, we get what is right for the country. Because if you just think it's just a joke and you don't care, it will bite you. That's a fact. I make it so jokingly, but that is what is on the ground. Look at economic growth rate in Africa. It's not something to smile about. I understand that some people would say, okay, look at the figures. Kenya is second, which is okay, but it's not something to smile about. Okay, Ethiopia is the fastest growing economy in Africa at 6.6%. Kenya comes second at 4.8%. Morocco third at 3.9%. Egypt comes fourth at 3.8%. Algeria fifth, 3.5%. Nigeria 3%. South Africa 1%. Someone on X said this. Nothing positive here. These numbers are too low to escape poverty. They are good figures for mature economies. Africa needs to be at above 10%. Otherwise, it will be difficult for Africa to beat poverty, or in other words, to fight poverty, considering our population is growing so fast, but it's not backed by commensurate economic growth. Because, when the population grows, human population actually grows, the economy should also grow. But looking at how things are, the future is bleak for Africa. Unless the leadership of Africa gets serious and focuses on innovation, production, rather than on looting, mass looting or massive looting, in other words. Additionally, let me just shock you a little bit. I know you'll be surely shocked, but this is the fact. Kenya doesn't have a single dollar billionaire. Instead, Kenya has centimillionaires and a few millionaires. Kenya has about $7,000 millionaires, but when it comes to billionaires, we don't have. But now go through this list to understand the distribution of centimillionaires and billionaires in Africa. Essentially, this is my point. Unless African leaders and their people take seriously the issue of growing their economies, otherwise it will just be semantics, pompous talk and all that, promising people we are going to do A, B, C, D. But if you don't address, as I said, if you don't address the fundamentals, it will be difficult for Africa to grow and become the giant it always says. African leaders like saying, Africa is a sleeping giant. But this giant cannot wake up without taking necessary measures to grow the African economy. I know population-wise we are growing, but when it comes to the economy, we are not growing because there's no any African country that is registering economic growth rate of over 10%. So that is a reflection of how badly we are doing it, especially in a situation like this where we don't have any mature economy. And when you look at other countries that have grown the economies to what they are today, they focus on the fundamentals. And the fundamentals here, it took a country like Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea to focus on industrialization, something that Africa is giving a wide berth. So expecting miracles in a situation like this and saying we are sleeping giants, we have minerals and all that cannot translate into meaningful wealth unless we take specific actions that are geared towards developing the African economy. This is Continental and Global Watch with Owen Analysis.